Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Itula-Omodiagbe Steve Osedebame, and I am in the Department of Medicine and Surgery. And today I'll be summarizing two books: The Leader Who Had No Title and As a Man Ticket. Right now, I will be summarizing Leader Who Had No Title. So, in chapter 1, talked about a young boy named Davis Blake who lost his parents and was changing from one job to another, from seeing his friends killed during war and experiencing those traumatic events. Davis Blake was a boy who was born in Milwaukee and grew up in New York with his parents. But everything changed when his parents died. His parents got killed due to an unfortunate event, and that destabilized Blake. It destabilized Blake so much that he could no longer focus, and the only thing that could actually make him useful was his passion for learning and reading. That is where he started working at a bookshop. Now, serving at a bookshop where nearly all of his co-workers hated him due to his negative attitudes, but he was loved by all the customers. He did not understand, he did not get why it was like that, but it still happened. So one day, as he was walking in the store after finishing from a meeting, he met a man that changed his life and his story forever. So in this chapter 2, Blake met an old friend of his late father named Tommy Flynn, who was an eccentric man. He was not what he wanted him to be. He was far different from what he expected. Tommy Flynn came to meet Blake and explained everything that happened, as Blake was dumbfounded of the things that Tommy Flynn said. And now Tommy Flynn spoke to Blake about the philosophy which implied that anyone, despite their title, has the ability to lead. He goes further by using himself as an example that he inspires and lead others rather than looking for a title. He slowly becomes Blake's mentor and in his journey through his life. Chapter 3 talks about where Tommy explained a little about the title of the 10 human regrets, which reveals the emotional cost of not realizing one potential failing to inspire others and living a life of mediocrity, and as well explains the 10 human victories. In this place, Tommy explains that it represents the rewards gained from personal accomplishments. Chapter 4 talks about Tommy introducing Blake to an Argentinian woman named Anna. Anna is a hotel attendant who serves in one of the best hotels in New York. She goes on to becoming one of Blake's mentors, and she tells Blake about the 4 natural powers, which basically says no matter how old you are or where you stay, you have the power to show leadership. She introduced him into the 5 acronyms in image. He introduced him to the acronym image. He taught Blake the principle of leadership. Chapter 5 talks about where Tommy introduced Blake to his second mentor, who was formerly the 5-time Slalom skiing champion named Boyd. He introduced Blake to the principle of turbulent times build a great leader, which explains that for one to progress further in life, he has to make sacrifices. He goes on to introduce Blake to these 5 acronyms, which is SPARK. Chapter 6. So he explains to Blake that your relationship should be stronger than your leadership. He goes further to tell Blake that he should be helpful and to everyone because everyone matters. He goes further to introduce Blake to his acronym, which was HUMAN. In this chapter, it just tells Blake that your relationship should be stronger and should create more bond than your leadership. In chapter 7, it talks about Tommy introducing Blake to the final mentor, Jet Priestley, a renowned massage therapist who shares the final principles of the leader with no title philosophy. He explains that a good leader begins within personal excellence. He tells Blake that in order to become a great leader, he must become a great person. He goes on to introduce Blake to his acronym, which was SHINE. Chapter 8. In conclusion, the leader who had no title talks about the journey of Davis Blake with his mentor Tommy Flynn on acquiring the knowledge on the philosophy, a leader with no title. The reason why the author Robin Sharma made this book was to encourage other people who were struggling with leadership qualities and introduce them also to the leader with no title, meaning that it does not matter. To being a leader is not about your position or your post that you hold. Being a leader comes with no title. Being a leader has principles. Being a leader, you need to cultivate the habit of personal excellence. You need to cultivate the habit of building strong relationship. You need to cultivate the habit of building your human empathy, because these things will be very important for those people who will one day become a leader.